sake of the recording. Thank you. So we'll call the May meeting to order, and Holly, call the roll, please.
Chairman Mayhood.
Here.
Mr. Craig.
Here.
Ms. Nestro. Here. Mr. Grote. Mr. Uthi.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Haven't heard from you, so.
Vice Chair McComsky. Here.
Okay, stand and salute the flag, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Oh, welcome, everybody. We have Terry Peters here. We have a subdivision for him. Most of you were on the board when he was on the board. Well, maybe not.
No, I wouldn't.
No, you three weren't.
Yeah.
A few of us were here when you were on the board too. It's been a while, but welcome, Terry Peters. First thing on the agenda, we have a listed as a public hearing, but we will hold that until we start the review of his application. Privilege of the floor. Is there anything anyone would like to mention? It's not on the agenda. All right. We will move to the approval of the minutes of the April meeting. Any corrections? I just had one, in terms of the attendance, the surveyor's name is Jared Ransom, Jared, not Gerald. He was in attendance there. Other than that, I didn't find anything else. I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I move to approve the amendments.
I'll second.
Caitlin, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you. Good job, Holly. It reports town board meeting. Town board met last week, the 13th. They had a septic placement variance request at 6614 Old Bald Hill Road, Springwater, New York is the address. They were not able to meet the 80-foot setback from the property line. It was an engineered system by Bill Grove. He's the engineer that pretty much does all of these in the area. And so the Board of Health, the town board meeting as a Board of Health, approved that variance. I personally think we should think about changing our law. You know, our law is very restrictive relative to the state. So maybe one of these times, somebody wants something to do, we should look at what the state law is, looking maybe to the history of why we have such a strict regulation on that, and put in an amendment to our town code. Because it seems like almost all of the septic systems that are being installed have to come before the Board of Health for variances. So maybe somebody will step up and take that up as a cause sometime. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I thought about it. I think the setback from property line from adjacent property owners, I mean, if you go to the state, then it's getting pretty close to adjacent property.
Right.
And this way, at least it forces the engineer to make sure that it's engineered considering the neighbor,
Yeah.
where they may not have to if it's just.
Yeah.
So that's the only, and it's just a formality of going through the public hearing.
Yeah. It has to be advertised. They have to.
Oh, they do have to advertise it?
Yeah, any public hearing has to be advertised on the website and the newspaper. Have to post a sign, you know, there's things
Yeah.
like that that have to happen.
But I
get
just
that
would worry
variance.
about if it gets too close to the neighbor.
Yep.
The neighbor has no say.
That's certainly a consideration if we do make a revision of keeping neighbors protected. Okay, so anyway, they did approve that. They have another one on the agenda for next month, another application. They had a public hearing there. The town board wants to set a weight limit on Jersey Hill Road and Cratsley Hill Road. Jersey Hill Road is falling in. They are later in the agenda. they actually chose an engineering firm to do an engineering study on Jersey Hill Road. The name of that was B&L Engineering, Barton and somebody engineering.
Lejudas.
Yeah, so they're going to do an engineering study on Jersey Hill. In the meantime, however, they'd like to put a weight limit on there so that it does show up on mapping programs, et cetera. And they're going to include Cratsley Hill, I guess for the same reason. I don't know that there's an engineering study being done or any work plan on Cratsley, but they want to set the weight limit on those two.
Can't imagine any trucks using.
Well, apparently they get quite a few according to
Yeah.
Jeremy, the highway superintendent. They got a
GPS.
GPS sends people up and down those roads, both roads. So,
Wow,
yeah.
didn't know that.
so there's a concern and so they're moving ahead on that.
ETF, you said?
The GPS, if you put in I'm here and I want to go there,
Yeah.
They
okay.
use-
I thought you meant a trucking company, because there is something like 3 letters.
Oh.
Trucking company.
they might.
UPS.
So that's that. Let's see. Other things are pretty regular. The highway department. They've been busy doing some tree removals on Lawrence Hill Road, ditch cleaning. Graded Canada's Hill Road again, put some stone. I don't know if they fixed your road. Pardon?
We have pothole.
Yeah. They've started the roadside mowing. They plan to do about 3 cuts this season. They sold the 2016 Ford F-550 for $11,000. And they've been doing vehicle maintenance. That was the highway department. Honeoye Lake Watershed Task Force. The lake level has peaked. April 15th, it peaked and started going down, which everyone's happy about, apparently. People can start putting their docks in now. Excuse me. And that was pretty much it. They signed mowing contracts for Ontario County like they always do. Approved the purchase of a 2025 loader. So it takes at least a year to get that. And I think that's all. Should be interested in. Any questions? You can look on the website for the minutes. In a few days, it'll be up there. I have a hard copy of the minutes from the last meeting if somebody wants to see it.
Watch the video.
Right, but for anybody that wants to read the minutes, I do have 1 copy. Or you can watch it online. Okay, County Planning Board, Steve Grote, anything for us?
And, attended the May 8th meeting. They had like 3 large subdivisions. Victor, Gorham, I think the other one, Canandaigua. One was a big mobile home subdivision. And just 2 local things. We had another solar array going up in East Bloomfield over near 444. It's on 34-acre property. It's a 4.482 megawatt. It's on vacant farmland, which is currently in the ag district. Unfortunate, but lose another piece of, ag property. And of the 34-acre parcel, the solar array would occupy 20 acres. And then I mentioned last month that the town of Naples put in a kind of moratorium on, remember the solar, well, they expanded that. I never knew there were all these different types, but they expanded that to include like everything and anything. Apparently they wanted to widen the purview of the initial moratorium and just look at everything that could be. So another 6-month moratorium, and yeah, it would include wind turbines, electric energy storage systems, farm waste energy systems, fuel cell electric generating systems, fuel flexible linear generator electric generating systems, and micro hydroelectric energy systems. It's like
Really,
everything,
everything.
yeah. Yeah. And then they did a nice little thing. They presented me with a certificate of appreciation at the end. That was nice. So I told them I didn't, but they did it. And then a few months early, but Paul, our chair, he's going out of town. He's a professor at Hobart. And he's going out of town in June, and he thought I was due to my last meeting was June. I told him another month. He said, "Oh, no problem." So he was a little early on it, but yeah, that was
Good.
a very nice gesture, and I really appreciated it.
How many years you on it?
20. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Along that line, county put out a notice in the newspaper. We have it on our website announcing that 2 towns are looking for county planning board representatives from the town. We haven't gotten any requests. We do have one person that said they'd be willing to fill in
And then
short term,
Mhm.
short term.
Okay.
So we'll, make sure that
Well,
gets-
Linda would be
gets up
happy.
to the town board at the time that your term. should
July
end.
31st.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I've got 2 more meetings.
maybe someone will come in the
Yeah.
meantime, but at least we would have it covered short term. Be nice if someone would step in, someone from the community even, so,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, Steve, and we appreciate you being there all these years.
No, like I said, it was
It's
very
interesting to
enjoyable.
get the feedback here.
It was
from what's
fun.
going on.
I learned an awful lot. I really enjoyed it, but it's just time. It's time.
All right, thank you again. Any questions for Steve? Zoning board, they did have a meeting. I didn't listen to the whole thing, so I don't know, and we didn't get a report that anything had been granted, so they apparently just had the hearing. I don't
And
know.
they don't put it.
No, they don't put an agenda and I didn't sit down and listen to the 43-minute meeting to see what it was about, so,
You know,
but they did meet.
when they,
I don't, just, they usually meet the Wednesday after the town board. You figure that out.
I tried to listen, but it's very difficult. You know. They don't always turn their microphones on.
Yeah. And it's a different procedures they use. Thank you, Birch. Code enforcement, we've included the report from the CEO. Any questions on it or anything of particular interest? You can always contact Joe Miller, the CEO, or you can ask, maybe we know something.
Proctors.
I did notice that there were 15 violation letters already year to date, and last year there were just 28 total, so that's just curious about that. Maybe they come early in the year, I don't know.
They did kind of go on a spree a while ago and look about property maintenance issues where things were messy. They issued several violations on that. Well, there's a summary of the violations, a specific violation
Oh,
right here on the back page, not a summary, but a detail.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, Stanley Proctor, they're going crazy down there.
Oh, geez, I see that. I didn't see Stanley.
Our code enforcement officer is also fairly new, so a lot of last year he spent in trainings that
Yes.
were required.
Yes,
So I think now he's really has more capacity to be focusing on some of the actual enforcement.
Yep. So as you can see, most of these are having to do with. What's not here, but there should be, I believe, is I don't believe we've seen a application for timber harvest. I'm doing timber harvesting there too.
On the same property?
Well, on the Proctor property down there, yeah. You go by, you'll see they've been logging for quite a while. I assume it's one of these addresses. So,
It is in Canada.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's in Canada, County Road
Yeah.
37,
They're
or
required-
36.
36.
When do we complain to that about the CEO or?
CEO, yeah. I thought I'd seen one on here, but I don't see one, and I don't recall signing off on one as planning board. So that's another, that would be a violation.
Send them an email or?
Yeah, you wanna do that?
Yeah. It's for.
Timber harvest permit for Proctor's property. Okay, anything else?
Probably age has a lot to do with that, because he's getting up there and,
I didn't think it was even living there.
Well,
I talked to him one day last year, nicest old guy,
Yeah, I know.
you know, but, you can
Yeah.
see it. Yeah, it's not right, but I guess you can see it happening sometimes.
well, the timber harvest really needs to be approved
Yeah.
because that's a potential environmental issue.
She's on that
Yeah,
hill there,
so-
you know.
He did come in a year or so ago wanting to inquire about subdividing some of the property down there. But they never followed up on it, so he was living down in Park Lawn Apartments last I knew. But we'll try to get the timber harvest application for them. Have them put one in and have it approved. All right, comprehensive plan, anything you wanna share with us?
We met this past Thursday, May 16th. We continue to work on the survey and the mailing. So we're hoping to have both of those finalized by our June meeting. To hopefully get those out in the mail. The comments from the town board were shared with us. And we will take those into consideration as we move.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything for Caitlin? Okay, old business, waiting for final survey maps for the 2 properties by Chris Clark that we approved the subdivisions a couple of months ago. They're working on them, but they've not yet submitted them. Other than that, we're up to date on all of our old business. So we turn to new business. We have an application, subdivision application for Terry Peters for property 6224 Old West Lake Road North in Canadice. That's not mailing address, but that's location and the tax map number. So the first thing we need to do is to open a public hearing to review this application by a motion and a second.
I so moved.
White,
Second.
Caroline, all in favor of opening the hearing?
Aye.
Thank you. Next thing is we need by motion to open the preliminary review of this application.
I'll make a motion.
Caitlin, thank you. Second,
I'll second.
White, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, okay. Now we can go into the review. Included in the packet, the application. This is some of Terry's property. 6224 Old West Lake Road. I hope the maps were understandable. Terry, would you like to see what I actually passed out, what everybody's looking at?
We had the other night there.
Yeah, I just kind of outlined things. Oh, okay. I just didn't draw the line where it's lighting.
I made that as
Okay,
neat as I could there.
so, I guess I cut off north. North is the top of this page. So the yellow is the existing property. Approximately 60 some acres, 67.697 on that old survey map for the two parcels. And he wants to subdivide this green line. And so we create a single lot on the south. And the portion that's being subdivided away is going to be annexed to the small property that fronts on Old Westlake Road. That's at the top right of your map. Okay, that's a pre-existing non-conforming lot. Non-conforming because it doesn't have enough road frontage, but it's pre-existing. And it's about an acre and a half. And so it's there, and so it's legal for us to be able to add the land acreage to that. So that's what his application is for. The southern property, there's nothing, there are no facilities and no structures and no services on it. Nor are there on any of the area to be subdivided away. It's wooded, as you see in the seekers, we see it's all wooded. It's pretty steep slope back there. And so I guess with that, I'd ask if anybody has any questions of Terry on the application.
What are all the numbers, Terry, on the bottom of it, like?
Follows the gully. Those are the numbers that follow the gully. The way the
These
surveyor
numbers.
filled them up.
Yeah, there's 3 gullies on my property. Okay,
You know,
steep hills and 3 gullies.
what do the numbers mean?
The
I'm
numbers
just curious.
are the dimensions when Gary Dutton went up there to survey that out.
It's not a straight line.
That's the center of that gully. That's how I bought that property, Cy Seawood, Norman Seawood, Seawood Tree Barn.
Well, so what would like, example, what would 30 mean?
See, it's not a straight line border. The gully is the border. So the surveyor was trying to get the
Oh.
dimensions as closely as he could.
Oh, I see.
to
I
what
just wondered, I
those-
never saw that before on a map and I was just curious what it was.
Yep, so he's got 3 gullies marked out there.
Okay.
And they're all his attempt to get the right dimensions.
What do you got, like one leg longer than the other one? Like reverse out back there?
That's 52.
How'd you do it all these years, huh? Okay.
You know, a lot of other- No, that's.
Okay,
that's 3
so-
gullies, that's why you see all the
Okay,
weird dimensions. there.
okay.
I just have one question. Should we also have a signature for Deborah? Or do we just accept Terry's? I'm assuming she's named on
My
the,
wife?
yeah, she's a landowner. You're both, it's held in both your names?
Yes.
Typically, we don't require that.
Okay.
We require a person whose name
Yep.
is on the deed.
Fine.
And Terry, well, didn't realize he didn't really have to fill that in, because it's not different than above. Okay, if you read what it says.
Yep.
The owner, if it's different than the above, who is the applicant? So Terry is the applicant and the owner. So unless somebody has a real concern. Okay, anything else? Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So what, and then this piece, the access. It's like this 250 foot.
Yeah, that's
Frontage?
road frontage.
Okay, for that.
It's fronting on the road, so it makes
Okay,
it a
okay.
legal lot that's being created.
Yeah, that could answer your question.
Yes.
That's 250.66 feet.
Right,
No, that's when I bought that parcel of land. So if I bought this, now I'm gonna
yeah,
get rid of it.
to
basically.
get in and go out.
Yep, it's an access to all that acreage that was back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When'd you buy it?
Well,
When'd you get it?
Started in 52. My parents and I bought. it.
Oh, really? Okay, went back that far.
60s, the 70s, the 80s and 90s and so on.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Go ahead, Caroline.
I just have a question.
Sure.
So now the access to that top parcel is going to be through that annexed area?
to the pre-existing non-conforming land.
And,
Yes,
Okay,
that's how you can access it.
okay.
Ian Ponio, whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
Point.
Ponio, well, it's actually belongs to Terry now.
Oh,
This survey map, it shows it as being the owner of Arthur Pompanio, but Terry owns it now. So this is an old survey, the new survey will show the correct owners on each of the parcels. Okay.
Yeah.
I included a map here to show you where it is, if you know where, you wanted to see where it was. Okay.
What's the grade on that? Like,
It's steep.
Goes up 3,000 feet, you know, Westlake Road to the very top of the property and retain.
it goes up to that high. I didn't think we had that high in the town.
Oh, yeah, so there's the neighbors on top.
It's not elevation at 3,000.
No,
Oh,
no, the distance, the linear distance.
oh, okay.
No,
I
the
thought you meant
elevation was-
elevation. I
no.
thought highest we got is about 17, I think. isn't it?
2,200.
Is it 22?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's so.
Up at Canadice Hill, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so 2,200, right, 21,
You are?
2050.
You're almost
Okay.
at the peak.
We're 21 in the back.
You're higher than I am, yeah.
Okay, anything else in the application? Map? All right, if not, I would entertain a motion to grant preliminary approval to the application.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Birch and Caitlin seconds. Any last chance discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. At this point, we're going to move to the review of the seeker, the environmental assessment form that Terry submitted. You look at it, it's a simple subdivision. This is exactly what's on the back of the application. Subdividing approximately 37.5 acres from tax map number blah, blah, to be annexed to the other tax member. Any questions about the seeker? I see one. I see number 3. We didn't fill in the acreage. And we have it here. The total acreage of the site off the old survey was 67.69. Did you see that?
Yep.
I'm gonna fill that in,
Okay.
okay, on the seeker, 69. Excuse me, 67.697 acre. It's not physically disturbed, but it's going to be divided away. So that's approximately 37 acres.
Right.
The surveyor will put the details on there. So approximately. And the total acreage is the 67.697. Okay, anything else on the seeker?
I didn't see anything.
Pretty straightforward, just subdividing it into 2 properties. So given that, we'll move to part 2 of the seeker. Need somebody to read those 11 questions.
I'll read them.
Okay, thank you, Birch.
Excellent.
There you go.
Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? No. Will the proposed action result in change in the use or intensity of use of the land? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in the adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy? And if it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies, public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources, e.g. wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora and fauna? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No.
Thank you. Pretty straightforward. So we move to part 3 based on part 2 that we said no to each of those questions. we need to by motion declare either a positive or negative impact on the environment based on the application. So we need
I'll
a
make a
motion.
motion that there's seems to be no negative impact,
Okay.
environmental impact.
Thank you, Steve. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Caroline. All in favor?
All right.
Okay, so checking that second box, that there'll be no negative adverse environmental impact. So that's finishes the seeker. This point, we will close the public hearing by motion.
I'll make a motion to close the public.
Thank you, Caitlin. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dwight. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, since we've not identified anything that needs to be changed or corrected to the application, what we often do at this point is grant final approval on the condition that up-to-date survey maps be provided that are substantially equivalent to what we've approved here tonight. And that you've given me the authority to sign those when they're, so entertain a motion like that.
I move for final approval.
Okay, Dwight, thank you.
I'll
Sec-
second.
Caitlin, all in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Opposed, carried. Okay. So that's it. You've been given the approval, Terry. Just get your surveys to me when you get them, call on the planning board phone.
We gotta get a surveyor. My old buddy, Dwight Youthy, I just double hit me.
Dwight, is Dwight a surveyor?
I look at his- I haven't seen Dwight since we were in school.
Yeah. Long time.
Are you kidding?
No,
I
no,
apologize.
it's all your fault. It's not mine. I know that.
I apologize.
Stop it.
When you get almost 80, you get a little drifty, okay?
Okay,
My surveyor that I've had since my dad and I started was actually back in the 60s was Gary Dawson.
Right.
and we know Gary well. He comes often with
He
surveys.
Probably 15 plus surveys for my dad when he was still alive, I think.
Huh.
I finally, he called me the other day. I'm gonna be on a Sunday morning. He has some issues trying to respond to, so. I'm gonna have to go up there and drive up to his house. That's the thing.
Well, there are several other surveyors that do work for the town.
If you
For-
could give me, tell you offered that the last.
I have a list of people that have surveyors that have provided survey maps for other applicants. We're not recommending any, but it's a list of names and phone numbers.
Yeah. I hope to get Gary because he has my map.
It's always good because he has a start on it, but
We guys got the job number of the last subdivision that was a couple years ago. So actually, I want to use Gary as a friend of mine. So-
Yep. okay.
So I made several attempts, I really have, so.
Within 62 days, something has to happen. Either you have to get them or you have to notify us that we would extend the time frame for you to get the survey maps in
62 days from tonight.
from tonight. Yeah. And like I said, if you can't get them, all you have to do is petition us to grant you an extension on that. Okay.
Right, from 62 days. No, serious.
All right.
I like the guy, the friend of mine.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Ted, for helping me through this, by the way.
You're welcome. I'll get you that list if you want to hang around a few minutes, because we're just about done with our meeting. I'll get you that list.
62 days from tonight to get the survey maps back to you.
Yes, for signature
Or
or
petition.
petition for an extension. The planning board for an extension. Yes. Okay,
Right.
all right, thank you. So then we're moving on. That was our last agenda item, other than the last privilege of the floor. Is there anything anyone wants to bring up? Motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Dwight, is there a second?
Second.
Caitlin, all in favor? Aye. Adjourn. Thank you all. Thanks for meeting early this month also, so we can enjoy Memorial Day next Monday.
Cheaper. I know
That's
it.
why we met you.
Today.